Hey.
We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another training on Wednesdays here. And today we have a special guest. We have Jenny Geska on here. We are going to be in for magical treatment because she's all about dance. I cannot wait to hear her story. Welcome, Jenny. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being on here. I cannot wait to get started. Let me get this a little bit on here so they can see your body and your face and what you're all about. All right, welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. As you know, this is like this is my pride. This is my joy. Dance has been such a really powerful part of my life. So any chance I have to share about it is great. So, thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking of me, and thank you for allowing me to talk about this because, I want to inspire people the way that it has inspired me and helped me through my life as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to go over a little bit about the history of dance or the history of how you became a dancer and a little bit about background for that. And then also about your trip to Brazil. You had a bunch of pictures up. It was very inspiring and very motivating to start moving, watching you dance and everything. Then we're going to talk a little bit about energy, stock energy, how to move energy, and then what dance means to you. And also she's going to show us some tips and tricks, right, on how to move, get going and move our hips.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Awesome. So who are you?
So, well, my name's Jenny, as y'all already know, and I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. I was born there, lived there for a while, lived in many, many places growing up. My parents kept moving us everywhere I think I lived in 7 states when I was younger. There was a lot of movement, and I would say, in a short summary, my childhood was very unstable. It was unpredictable. There was a lot of conflict going on. It was messy, quite frankly. But my mom had put me in dance when I was 2. I don't even know if you can consider that dance at that time. I remember
when I started. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, there was some movement. There was some leapfrog. There was some heel toe, at that time. And I will say that, looking back, I think that was the stable part of my life, that no matter what was going on, no matter how messy things were getting with my family, dance was always there. And it was like the one thing I had to look forward to. And I had it all through high school. And I remember I would leave high school and I would just go straight to my dance studio. And at that time I was teaching little kids. Because I was there so much, my instructor had kind of taken me, or the studio owner had kind of taken me under their wing. And they were like, hey, Jenny, why don't you, come here, do your homework here, have dinner here, whatever you need to do. But, you can help me with the little kids and your tuition's on us, so it became like my healthy addiction, if you will. That's what I had to look forward to. I would just get through school and be
It sounds like the beginning of a movie.
Yeah.
Really. It's your movie.
Yeah. And thinking back at the time, I never realized how much it was impacting my life. I just knew that was my safe haven, and that was what I had to look forward to. And I danced all through college. And then in college, I had auditioned for, this is so funny, like Six Flags. And they hired me. They hired me that year as a dancer, as a performer. And that's how I would spend my summers in between, college semesters. I would go and they would be like, hey, Jenny, where do you want to go this year? And nice. It would be New Jersey, Chicago, New York. They would kind of just put me at whatever park and house me there. So again, it was kind of like my safe haven. And I think at the time, and I know you and I talked about this a little bit, it became, it's natural. It is natural to our bodies. And I brought this up when you're a little kid, or if you see like a child that's just learning to walk, just learning to stand, if you put some music on, they're going to move. Like they're going to, Yes. Yeah, they get a groove and it's just in their body. It's natural. And although we're training technique, we're training different things, I think I was really fostering a side of myself that I didn't quite understand yet. So, fast forward to many, many years. There was a time when I actually tried to stop dancing.
Yeah.
At this point, I had been a ballroom dance instructor. I mean, I think I like beat dance up. I've been through the whole dance spectrum. And I said, well, I think that like, I need to grow up. I kept telling myself, I need to grow up.
I need to get a real job.
Yeah, I need to get a real job. Like,
right.
Romanticize that real job mentality. And so I was there. And this is also about the same time when I got pregnant. And I actually I had gone back and gotten a different degree. And I finished it right at the tail end of my pregnancy. I think I had my daughter and I had like 2 months left of school. So that was fun. But
wow.
It was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had full intentions of, jumping into some kind of stable career. And it just seemed that no matter what I did, dance was not ready to leave my life.
No. It's your passion. Isn't it great how your soul just knows that whatever you're passionate about, you're supposed to follow that, because that is like what you're supposed to do in life, your purpose. Like, this is your purpose.
Yep, that was exactly it. So I found myself in I think this was my turning point when I realized what dance really was. I found myself in a really dark place. I was depressed. And I think it's because, becoming a mom was tough for me because it was such a big life change as somebody that was constantly traveling and on the go and just used to that life.
Mm-hmm.
Now I was kind of a stay-at-home mom waiting to start a new career that I may or may not have enjoyed. And that's just kind of where I found myself. And I started going out dancing again. I was like, it's not going to hurt. I'm just going to go out. And I made time, worked with my husband. I was like, hey, I need time for me. I need me time. I don't feel like myself anymore. And I started going out social dancing, Latin dancing, salsa, bachata, stuff like that. Yeah. And I started finding like light again. I was like, wow, this is, it felt so good. And even my relationship at home was improving because I was getting that time to foster. At that time, I just said me time.
Right.
But now I look back and I'm like, no, I was really working on so much more than just having me time, with the girls.
Yeah.
And anyway, so at some point I was asked to come back and teach. I was assisting a different dance company and it was like, okay, 1 day a week, 2 days a week, little things here and there. And then, are you able to perform? So I was like, I guess I'm getting back into dance.
I guess this is happening. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Nice to see you. Yeah, I see you guys. I'm just saying hi.
Yeah, I see a lot of people on there too. Hello, everyone. So yeah, so I got back into dance and this is, I guess, where Samba came back in. Someone had asked me to do a Samba show and I was like, oh, no. I don't dance Samba. Like, I don't know how to do that. And, and they were like, yes, you do. You pick up everything. You've danced your whole life. You'll be fine. So she kind of pushed me and I did this Samba show. And when I look back now, I'm like, but
it's always what we don't want to do that we end up being the thing that we're really good at.
Right.
Yeah.
As a dancer, I was like, I don't have experience in this, so it's really not comfortable for me. But she pushed me and she encouraged me. After that, I was like, I kind of like this. I think I need to do more of this. And I started seeking out. It's really hard to find anyone that has the knowledge here because it's a dance from Brazil and it's so rooted and it's so raw and it's not streamlined. It's not the samba that we see on Dancing with the Stars. Has nothing to do with that. It was something so different that it just pulled me in. And I was able to make some really great connections. And we started, a company and we just dedicated ourselves to diving into technique and learning the history and the culture of the dance. So I know that was a long intro, but that's
like the foundation of why you are here and to show people that we don't always know exactly what it is consciously, but our soul knows exactly what we want and what we're passionate about. And it tries to get us there. And it's always like, we're like, no, I remember when I went through a stage when I'm like, okay, now for a real job, but the real job is our purpose and what we came here to do. And so if you're really a dancer, that's your job, and it's cool to see how it transitions from the unknown to the known. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so tell us, tell us about the what you were saying about then when you went to Brazil recently. How did that change as far as how you saw things and healing and all that?
Yeah. So Brazil was like this incredible eye-opening experience. And what I did was I had to send in, it had always been bucket list. I mean, there's a million people, if you talk to them, oh, doing carnival would be bucket list. That would be amazing.
Right.
And for me, it was just a tiny bit different because I wanted to go there and partake in a certain role. It's called a pasista, and it's, your job is to samba. You're not on a float. You really don't have you don't have that big fancy costume. You're in a tribe and your job is to samba and to score points for your school. So for me, that had always been kind of my dream come true, not just to be there, but to be there with a certain purpose, because I knew that journey was going to push me to the next level. So I remember one of my mentors telling me, hey, you're ready. You should send in an audition video. And I was like, no. I really, truly sent in this video thinking, this will be good feedback.
So I can work on stuff.
Yeah, they're going to send back some great feedback for the future. Somehow that I got an acceptance like, oh, this director would like you to come, as a pasista with their school. And I remember just thinking, my initial thought, and I'm just going to say this, sorry if I offend anyone, my initial thought was shit because I was like, I knew it was a 2-month commitment. I had not prepared myself. I had not prepared my family to up and leave to Brazil. That was the longest I had ever been away from them. And I was just like, I have to do that. I need to do this. But holy crap, how am I going to make this happen? How is my family going to survive without me?
The how. How
am I going to, how? And so I remember my husband was sitting there with me when I got the message, and he was like, and I was like, I was like smiling and also like terrified because I was have this conversation. And I told him, and he was like, okay, we need to make, he could see how much it meant to me. He was like, this is going to happen. We're going to make this happen. And somehow we did. And but it was so much more when I got there. I was like, technique, I'm going to learn so much technique. And it became so much more than that. And I actually ended up doing some spiritual work down there. One of my mentors that was a dance instructor, his mother was a spiritual worker. And I wanted to get as much out of this as possible. I said, because this is a dance out of, it's a dance out of suffering. And this was at that time during the slave trade, their way to continue to practice their faith and their religion. And it was undercover. They weren't allowed to do any of that. They weren't allowed to call to their gods or to meditate or, however you want to.
It's always been the same way. It's always follow this one way and don't do anything else that gets you closer to your own,
Yes, they were trying to separation and say, no, we've brought you to this land. Now you have to follow what we follow. But at the time, the slaves were like, no. So they developed these movements, the Samba and Capoeira, and these were ways to kind of, from the common eye, they'd say, oh, they're just dancing and singing a song, but they were actually calling to their orishas. And I found that to be very powerful. In fact, I would cry. I would cry a lot. I'd be like, oh, and I'm like getting teary-eyed right now because it just touched me so much. And when I started doing this spiritual work, this woman came in. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, what do I
going to make me cry?
Yeah. You can see how powerful it was. It was very healing. It was very powerful, but it also I felt a sense of burden because I was like, whoa, now I have entered their world in a way that I'm never going to be able to go back. And so this woman would come in and she, through multiple sessions and multiple cleansing baths that were really horrendous, honestly. these god awful, smelly herb baths all over me and at the ocean. But it was, every time, it was the first time in my life I had felt a connection to something higher, I guess. And that's why it was so overwhelming. The music, the people, the culture, and this spiritual work. And I remember saying to somebody, I feel like my tuition is just through the roof right now. It's like
everyone's energy. You were in the atmosphere of all that energy, and so your body, your electromagnetic field around you picked up on that. We're electric, and it's like biofeedback. It goes, oh wait, they're feeling this, I'm gonna feel this. And
yeah,
so you have no choice. You're surrounded by all that energy. Like,
it was so powerful. It was so, and then doing this work because she kept telling me that you're so heavy, and she told me something that was kind of alarming at that time. She said that you have a lot of negative energy on you cast by other people because of jealousy,
mm-hmm.
or they wish they had your life. And she said, unfortunately, there was some ill intentions, and she's like, we need to work with you to get rid of that, because you can't reach your full potential if you don't. And I remember that hit me hard. I'm like, who hates me?
Who is it? I know it's one of you. I know you watching me.
Yeah. And I was like, it was like hard. Every time I would post a picture on Facebook, I'd be like, who's
the haters
on, and who's like casting so much judgment, And anyway, so with this whole process,
but even focusing on that creates more energy towards it.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to ignore it, because
so
that way you're not feeding it. Yeah.
Like herb baths. Yeah. And she, there was a whole bunch of other things that I don't even know. She spoke Portuguese, and mine is not very good. So I was like, I don't know, just tell me what to do.
Right. Clean me.
You can do your thing. Yeah. And she gave me some exercises. And so anyway, needless to say, I came back just such a different person. Mm-hmm. And it was probably a combination of everything. Again, like you said, being around the dance, for me, it developed a connection to something so much higher. And I don't even want to use the word religious or faith or whatnot. It was just something that I can't explain.
It's a spiritual connection.
It is. Yeah. And I just came back a very different person. And since then, I've been like so excited to help people find that for themselves. And I do. And I came back saying to myself, dance is that for me. It's not going anywhere. That's what I need to be doing right now. That's what I'm going to continue to do. And I'm thankful that that I followed my intuition along the way to get to Samba and to take that journey on, because it's been really eye and mind opening.
So in what ways would you say that whole entire trip helped your healing process, as far as what you've been through as your foundation of your life, and then what that like accumulated and brought to you? Because I'm sure all those feelings came about, and everything, all the energy from your past basically just came up to the surface for you to be like, wow, this is happening. Like, I have goosebumps, because I know what that's like when you have that connection and you just want everybody else to have that connection. And you're like, please go within, feel it. It's amazing. Yeah. Yes. So how did it help you on your whole healing process?
It just, you have those moments when you look back and you go, aha.
Yeah.
So many aha moments where I was like, this didn't work, and this didn't work, and this didn't work. At that time, I was judging myself so badly, saying, I had this conflict. I had this inner battle. And like, yes, I had done a lot of healing work to get past a lot of things that had happened, but I still carried this judgment. And I was like, and I found that the judgment wasn't really me judging myself. It was me having those around me judge me, and me saying maybe they're right. And it was a lot of self-doubt. And I was like, I know I'm a good person, and I've been through a lot, and I have a really crazy past, and things are wild. And I just said, but I found my place. I'm in the right place, and I've just learned to trust the process so much more, and not try to control it, and not let others control my situation, and just trust the journey and trust the path. And that is peace of mind for me that I didn't have for a long time. But, that journey put me there. So now I listen to my instincts. I listen to my guts. I listen to everything. And because of that, things happen in a way that they probably wouldn't have before, when I was saying, no intuition,
or the hows. When we think about the hows, how is this going to work? How is this going to even come about? It's like, if it wasn't presented to you, if it wasn't there, like, for all this happened for a reason, to get you where you were. So the how is like not your problem. at all. It's like, okay, I'm doing this. The universe will take care of the how, and I will show up and do what I'm meant to do. Yeah. And that's when you start believing in yourself and you start trusting that the universe has your back and you're just here to do what you're supposed to do.
That's exactly it. And it's so crazy. You know, obviously one thing I'll bring up is, because we have to face it in this world, financial stability, you know, how, and that was my biggest concern when I went to Brazil. And I just kept saying, I'm going to just trust the process. I'm going to trust that this is somehow going to work. And it was like, probably, you know, I was very fortunate that I listened and I went with it, and things just kind of fell into place and created a situation where I didn't have to worry about that while I was in Brazil. You know, and I do want to be clear. I'm also a realtor. So it was amazing how things fell into place right before I went to Brazil. And my family didn't have to worry about it, you know, so that my husband could take more time off of work to take care of my daughter while it was gone. And they actually were able to come to Brazil for a week.
How awesome.
Yeah.
That's an experience.
Yeah. So instead of worrying about it and stressing about it, it was exactly that. It was like, okay, I'm going to trust that this is meant to be, and I'm going to trust that everything is going to work out. And that's a hard thing to do, I think, for some people. But I think the more you experience that, the more you can trust.
You could start trusting it more and more until you just definitely have like complete 100% faith, because you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about dance and energy. Just a few of them, because everything really is energy. We have mechanical energy, electric, magnetic energy. That's the magnetism you feel when somebody comes or walks through the door and you're like, I'm feeling their vibe. You know, it's like you're magnetically drawn to them. You have that chemistry energy, the music, sound waves that just provide this energy when you put it on, that spark your right hemisphere. Your right brain starts like going into where there's no time and space. You have the energy of heat and cold and all of that. So basically everything in this world is energy. It cannot be destroyed. It can only be changed or transmuted into something. So what happens when we move and we're moving our energy? What can you tell us about, for example, dancing with other people and how our energies kind of talk to each other energetically? Like, my energy is talking to their energy. Is like, does our energy want to connect and like dance for a little bit? You know, in social dancing a lot, we kind of go, no, I don't want to dance with you, or yes, I want to dance with you, because we're looking at their vibe. We're feeling their energy. So how do you think this plays a part in moving our own energy as far as stuck feelings and things that way? And how does that help with dance? I mean, that's a whole loaded question, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is. I know we could go hours on this topic, but I would say, so I'll give an example, and this may or may not sum it up. So again, it's romanticized. Okay, if you're married, maybe you shouldn't be dancing with somebody else, or this or that. And I think it's important, like you said, everything is energy, and it's just there. So, you know, why not connect with that and play with that more? And that's the way I've always seen it. Where somebody, you know, I've had people, I can't believe you dance like sensually with other men. And so, you know, getting past that point, I've had dances with people where, and this happened in Brazil too. I was also training Brazilian Zouk, which is not something you see on Dancing with the Stars. It's a beautiful, beautiful dance that kind of developed from lambada. And it's kind of the preferred social dance in Brazil. So obviously I took advantage. They have it here, you know, in Raleigh, but not like there. And I remember I danced with this one. Yeah, again, I don't speak Portuguese. Me and my friend got daring, and we're like, let's go to the Zouk club.
Zouk it out.
Baby, yeah, I don't know much Zouk. And I remember this guy just came and grabbed me, and I was nervous. I was like, ugh. And because I didn't want to do bad, you know, I didn't want to be a bad partner. And again, that was me being in my head, you know, and I danced. This guy ended up dancing. I think we danced for 30 minutes straight. The first dance, I was nervous. I was kind of stepping on him. I didn't know, you know, and of course the style in Brazil being more authentic is much different than what we train here.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the music was just, it was just amazing, but it was I remember it was dark in the club, couldn't really even see much of who you're dating, just flashing lights every so often. And the first dance was a little scary. And I remember this guy, he kind of just grabbed me and he just held me. And he just started breathing. He was just breathing, and he had his hands just, around my back, around my upper back. And he was much taller than me. So I kind of was like squished against his chest. And of course, at first I was kind of like, I didn't know what norm was and what he was doing. And he did this for about one song. And I noticed that what he was doing was trying to help me with my energy because I was so nervous. And I wasn't trusting yet.
Aligning so that you would align with his energy, right?
Yeah, he was helping me align. And then we danced for like 30 minutes straight, and it was so beautiful and amazing. And that reset me for the rest of the night. And it was just a little like, hey, again, little sign that was like, hey, breathe, calm down. You're going to do fine. And that's, no one's judging you in here. You're going to have an amazing experience, time to connect with people, on another level. And so that was eye-opening for me.
Isn't it crazy how like one person doing that with you can be part of your story? That could be like, he doesn't know you're talking about him right now. You know what I mean? But you are forever. He is forever part of your story now because he changed the trajectory of your energy.
Yeah, and I couldn't even pick his face out. Like, if I saw him, I don't even know what he looks like or his
But
name.
if you went on his chest, you'd probably like,
maybe. Yeah, but he helped me that night. And again, it was like, you look back and you're like, okay, that was probably meant to happen. Like, yeah, that guy was meant to be, I was meant to bump into that guy at that moment. And it was just so beautiful. So it's amazing when you open yourself up to that. Whether you're dancing yourself or whether you're connecting with somebody else in that way, it's just so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it can have like a lifelong lesson, a lifelong impact. So
since we're talking about that, I want to bring up something that happened to me when I was dancing. So we have basically concluded that everything is energy. We all know that. So if we have energy from trauma, past trauma in our lives, or even past lives, anything that is energetically just attached to us, we're going to feel it in our body. We're going to feel it emotionally. We're going to feel it in some type of way, right? So I was dancing once. I've danced my whole life, but I was dancing this one time specifically where I remember I just like let go of any thought, right? You just let go of thought and you move with the music, you move with the whatever the energy is just taking you, right? Like you don't even know what you're doing. It's just kind of moving you, right? And I remember I had my eyes closed and this entire like scenario happened right in front of me, where I was like seeing this girl running up the stairs and I was right behind her. But you know how like if you were a spirit, you can see yourself getting closer until you're like in the person, if that makes any sense, right? All of a sudden I'm her. There's this Asian girl. And it was, she was running crying and she opens the window and she's like, I think in Japan. And she opens the window. She sees these like ships of army people and her husband's leaving. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I've always have this fear of like being like, you're going to leave me. And I'm like, oh, this is recurring from so many past lives. And like, it hit me like a ton of bricks and I started crying and I let go of this like fear of, oh my God, I'm going to be left again due to whatever happened in the past. And it was like, I was there. It was like a memory as if it happened last week. You know what I mean? Like so prominent. And the tears were just like, I remembered, him leaving and me crying and all that stuff. And it was just this clear memory. And I'm going, whoa, what in the world just happened to me? Right. And these things happen a lot when all of a sudden, people that do energy work, like I do energy work on people and you can feel the energy moving and it all of a sudden triggers the person. And this is exactly what happened when I was dancing. So I think that dance and letting the energy move you helps you unlock so many things that need to be like, that need to come up that have been suppressed for so long. I mean, longer than we even know. Like, I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
And that changed my life. That changed like my trajectory of what I was thinking as far as fear and this attachment of this fear that I had about my husband leaving. And it's like, why do I have this? And it went away. So
that's exactly it. And I think when you get to that, like you said, you're not really, we practice choreography and choreography is wonderful. But when you let go, like you said, and you're just kind of being present in the moment and doing what feels good to your body, I think that's, I can relate to that with Samba, because when I went there, they were like, you need to stop with this choreography mindset. So although there is a lot of technique and a lot of skill involved, the most important thing is that you utilize that in the present moment and connect with whatever music is around you at that time, is all kinds of drums and stuff. So you really do enter almost, it's a different type of meditative state as far as, that's how I feel. And I think that's why these types of things happen. So whether you're, and again, if you enter that meditative state and you're with another being at that time, you can only imagine what comes up.
You pick up on their energies. And yes, it's amazing. It's amazing. So here's a few things: stiffness in the back, difficulties going to the bathroom, feeling overwhelmed or emotionally all over the place when we're not feeling really grounded, stuck in terms of imagination and creativity. So you're rooted in the root chakra when it comes to dance, as far as the physical aspect of this reality. But then dance kind of helps you bring it up to the sacral chakra, which is all about creativity and is all about the emotions and the sensuality, which is very much a big part of dance. And a lot of cultures use sensuality as part of their dance, and it's looked bad upon in other places, but it's part of the emotions, the feminine energy, all of that combined. So dancing is a great way to get that going. So as far as that goes, we have flowing through dance movements or yoga poses can help to stretch or open the hips, which is healing to the sacral chakra. So we're going to have Jenny show us how to, what are you going to show us today?
I'm going to show you kind of what is the foundation of Samba, which is very, very much, the whole movement is all about hips and torso. It just really, they say from the belly button down. That's your focus in Samba. So even though these will just be drills, it's so hard to learn Samba in just a short period of time, let alone years, honestly. But these foundation drills that we do to help develop our Samba are so healing in themselves. So this is why I want to show it to you guys. And again, like you said, you can do, there's tantric dance, there is yoga. I have
Kizomba. What do you think about Kizomba?
Oh, Kizomba. Kizomba is so interesting. So if you look up Kizomba now, I'm going to warn you, you're going to get usually what pops up is the world's sexiest dance. And it is beautiful. The movement that they do is called Tarashinya. And it's all about the lower body. And we're actually going to do one of the exercises that they share, because they're fairly similar. They came from the same place.
Yeah, I love Kizomba.
Yeah, and they both were heavily impacted by Portuguese colonization at that time. So that it's interesting how close the roots are with Samba and Kizomba and Capoeira. And again, a whole nother.
Right. But, okay, so you're going to show us basically to get the hips going. This is going to help the flow of energy, some movement so we can get going. All right, let me put this on you.
We're going to take a little walk over here where I've cleared off some space.
Okay.
And what I want to just make sure you're in something comfortable. Again, we're not going to work up to a sweat. It's more about being in your own body and not worrying about what's going on outside. And guys, I recommend, to get the most out of this is just a little tip.
So we can get...
Sorry. Yeah, okay. This is a little tip that I learned when I was in Brazil. I was so dependent on the mirror, right? I was focused on, what do I look like when I'm doing this? Do I look like my instructor? Am I doing this right? And I had a really big reality check. Because they were like, you need to get out of the mirror and into your head. I'll never forget that. Get out of the mirror and into your head. And that to me was the most beneficial thing that I have ever heard. Samba taught me that, because in the studios, I mean, there's not even studios. In the big giant warehouses, they don't have mirrors. They don't have
right.
They don't have mirrors. So you really do have to get into your head and say, hey, okay, I'm going to get through this 2 hours of training. I'm dehydrated. I got the chills. I have heat exhaustion. But hey, you know, I'm here and I'm present. So obviously don't do that. But
right.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my sweater because I want you guys to see my
hips.
I want you to see what's going on in my lower body. And so again, this is foundation of Samba, but using it more for, you know, helping yourself. What I want you to do is stand in a comfortable position and take a second to rock forward and back on your heels. And I just got my hands relaxed, my upper body's relaxed, and we're going to work from the ground up, right? So from our root up. So rock forward and back on your heels and just take a second to see where it feels good for you. So this is where you have to connect with your own body. Are your hips retrograded slightly? Do you need a small turnout in your legs to make sure that your hips and your knees and your feet are in line? You know, spread your toes out a little bit. Make sure you can kind of feel the floor underneath you. And then try to center your weight as best as you can. And I know that people know Samba as heels, right? Very big heels.
Yeah.
But we always start here when we're training. Okay, the heels come much later. So your weight should be fairly center, and then you're going to take it forward just a hair. So find your, like, okay, this is where I would normally stand, and then take it forward just a hair so that you feel the back of your legs, your calves, just a little bit of engagement. It should feel really nice, actually. Good. Take a breath there. And then what I want you to do, coming up a little bit, I want you to think this is where you need to breathe. You really, really need to breathe here. So I know in a lot of things in our world today, they're always, engage your abs, suck it in. And you don't want to do that here. Otherwise, you're not going to survive. When you get down the road and you're practicing very demanding Samba, if you engage your abs, you're going to really struggle to get the breath in. And I think it's also important to just go ahead and release that area, because that's what we're trying to do, right? So go ahead and release, take deep breaths, doesn't matter, nobody's judging, okay? This is just part of your body that we're working with right now. And then what I want you to do is think of creating space between, and I'm putting my hands on my body so you can really kind of see. Create space between your hip and your ribs, and think of it as that you're creating that much more room for air, okay? So really lifting. And when we lift, make sure you're not taking your pelvis completely out of alignment. We are going to do an exercise with that, but for now, we're just trying to find our foundation. So creating space, but reserving enough comfort right underneath your ribs here, right where they connect. Picture a little ball there, and you're creating space, maintaining space so that you can breathe all the way up through your diaphragm. If we're stretched, that's really hard, right? So relax it. Okay, and then take a couple seconds to just relax your shoulders, shake them out, roll them out. And then from there, we have our foundation. So a nice stand, nice and tall. I lift the chin slightly. Just think of everything as nice, open, and comfortable. All right, now I'm going to turn to the back. So what we're going to do with your hips in that comfortable position, you're going to bend the knees slightly, and we're going to think two walls. So I have a wall in my front and a wall in my back, and I'm going to stay in between those two walls. One hip bone is going to lift, and one hip bone is going to drop. And I'm doing this by exchanging my weight in my leg. So I'm settling into one hip and straightening the leg in another. And you're probably going to feel a pretty big stretch in that hip. Is normal, right?
Yeah, I can. You could feel it also, like when you haven't stretched on the lower back, you know?
Yeah, I mean, everything is connected. So you're
right.
It'll feel different for each person. And the most important thing in Samba technique is we want to make sure that we're going out. You know, in belly dance, they go up a lot, boom, but our motion is out. So you want to think out, and it's thinking that you have a rubber band across your knees, and you're stretching that rubber band between the knees. So I'm stretching, I'm stretching, I'm stretching. And again, I love doing this, you know, especially in the US, we overwork our quads so much because we walk, we do stairs, we do 8 million squats. Everybody knows squats, but we forget to talk about what's happening in our inner muscles, what's happening in our hips, and we really forget about what's happening back here. So you see a lot of people with knee problems, and it's typically a muscular imbalance.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
The IT band usually makes, like, when it's tight, the knee goes out, and usually people are like, "Oh, it's my knee," and it's like, well, your IT band is kind of tight.
Yeah, there's so many things. So this, although I do say that when people first start this exercise, in the beginning, they'll usually feel a little bit of discomfort. But what's happening is not only are you working some different muscles in here, you're also developing a little bit stronger range of motion. All right, because we're stiff.
Right.
We're super stiff. So something else I want to talk about is you have to let go here. And I'm just right on the cheek. So go ahead, again, you feel around on your own body and just say, hey, am I carrying tension when I do this exercise? Okay? Boom, boom, boom. All right, so that's kind of part one. Part two, now I'm going to turn sideways again. I'm just going to bend my knees enough to be relaxed. You can take your hands right in front, palm to palm if that feels good. And you're going to take your pelvis under and then lift. Under, lift. Under, lift. And on this, obviously, you have to use your glutes, so you're going to feel a little bit of tension in the gluteal muscles. But this is more about moving this. This is so good for the root chakra.
Yes.
And it's a similar motion to if you were doing a bridge on the floor. So you should feel, again, a little bit of tension, right? But nothing crazy. And again,
you can feel it in your hamstrings.
Yeah, exactly. When I come here, I have engagement and I'm squeezing, and I'm still trying to keep my abs released, but I do draw slightly my belly button towards my spine. In and out. So that's that part. So those two motions should get you loosened up. Shake it out. Shake it out. All right. So for this one, we're going to move just a little bit more. And what's going to happen? Now, remember, when we see Samba, we know this is the most popular step, right?
Oh, yeah, I love it. Yeah.
That's the most popular step, and it's done very differently in Brazil than it is on Dancing with the Stars. Okay? I just have to throw it out. The Brazils are like, what is that? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's not Samba. All right, so what we're going to do, but this is also a Samba step right here. Right? And so it's this. So it's just different style variation. So we're going to work with that first one. So again, position, base position. And I want you to come up onto your toes a couple times and back down. And up and down. And again, if there's any hip issues, knee issues, foot issues, you can skip this part, okay? You can do this on flat feet. And again, good challenge with this one when you're practicing, take away your, close your eyes. Ooh. Trust your body.
Yeah, that's how you know when you got balance.
Yeah, when you close your eyes, whole new ball game. Good. And relax down. Okay, now we're going to lift up onto the toes and we're going to kind of stay there. I'm going to come right to the front because we're really focusing here. I'm on a rise. My feet have a little bit of space in between them because that's what's comfortable for me. I'm going to try to keep my knees parallel, but again, they may or may not have a little turnout, okay? And I'm just going to march. 1, 2, 1, 2. And I'm working on that out hip movement. Out, out, out. I'm going to lift my arms overhead. Feel free to do the same because I just want you to isolate hips. Ba, boom, ba, boom, ba. Let's go a little faster. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And guys, there's not too much movement here. If it's jiggling, you're doing it right. You have to just let it go. And I'm going to say that so much in Samba. But gosh, isn't that a beautiful message? 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's try on the 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. And look at my posture. Nothing has changed from the beginning. I'm still creating space, reserving some, right? Relax shoulders. Boom, back, boom. Relax the hips and definitely relax the booty. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Okay. One more little drill here, and this will help put that little twist in Samba. So this is a fun one to practice. And if you need to, you can always grab onto something. I'm going to come up onto my toes. And I'm going to twist my foot behind me. Okay. So I go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. From the back, 1, 2, 3. So I'm still doing this each time. I'm just starting to separate my feet. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Back, forward, together. Back, forward, together. Back, forward, together. Lift, faster. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1. Good. Again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Back, front together. Left, right, left. Right, left, right. 3 and 2, 1. Good. Relax. How does that feel? Are there any questions?
I know I'm like taking myself off mute so you guys don't hear me breathing.
It's crazy. So when you're practicing Samba, yeah, it's you'll never just be like, but it's really important to keep like thinking about that breath, even as it speeds up, right? It's going to as you get faster and faster. So, but those movements, you know, it's just foundation of Samba. And so even just that in itself, practicing that little sequence a couple times a week, it will really do some
just
good.
The smallest little, you know, it gets your heart going. Like I'm sitting here, like I'm just stepping. That's why I love putting music on and just going with whatever it, you know, wherever it takes me. Because then you end up doing all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. You know, and that's just one little step. Samba has so many beautiful movements. All these different, like they do these beautiful these floellas, and all kinds of. So you know, you really do. Like I feel like a goddess, and maybe I'm channeling a past goddess. You know, I'm not sure, but you really feel like a goddess when you're dancing Samba, and it's just so nourishing for your body.
It is.
Yeah.
1 second, please go. I'm live right now. Thank you. Goodbye. Like standing right in front of me trying to ask me a question when he knows I'm live. Like, go away. He's hungry. Poor thing. Okay, so look, I'm feeling it in my legs. Who else is? Yeah, I was feeling it. I was feeling it everywhere. It was mostly just my heartbeat, just from the, you know, the hip moving. But I love that anyway, just because a lot of people stay stuck all together and think they have to go together instead of isolating, like you said.
Yeah.
The hips. So
little isolations. And another thing I learned in Samba that I thought was such a beautiful piece of advice from one of my mentors is he said, you have to work with your body, not against it. And I was like, but like, you know, I'm like, no, I push myself. That's what I do. He was like, no, with this.
Yes.
And he was saying, you will practice the same drills for a while until your body is ready to take it to the next level. Then you will practice those drills for a while there until your body is ready to take it to the next level. So part of feeling it in different areas is getting used to it. And again, range of motion, flexibility, you know, those types of things need to happen. But I've noticed the flexibility in my hips has been so healing to my lower chakras. And I just like, if I don't have that happening, you know, regularly, I feel off. And I don't feel that I'm nurturing that area. And I do feel a big difference. So
you feel more balanced. Yeah. And that's why I say everybody should touch on every aspect of each thing to feel that balance. Because if we're like not moving, then there's stuck, you know, it's stuck energy. So yeah, I'm so happy you joined us and that you showed us this and that you gave us some history and a little bit about you and everything. Because I mean, I hadn't heard it completely either. So I was interested in knowing myself, and I've known you for some years now, and I just never really heard the story. Yeah. So yeah.
It's
Thank you so
beautiful.
much. It was awesome having you. I really appreciate it. So I'm sure everybody here is, I mean, we still have people watching and I'm sure they were up there moving along because you get everybody moving. So
I hope
thank you
so.
so much. Yes, yes.
No, thank you for having me and letting me share that journey. It's very special to me. So
You're very welcome. Yes. So a little reminder, next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we're going to go live. And this time it's going to be me and my husband. We're going to, usually it's just me. And so we're going to talk about what you desire most in a relationship, and not in a selfish way, but just relationships, period, overall. So he's going to come on board for the first time on here and talk about our relationships, period. And it's going to be different. It's going to be fun. So I cannot wait for that also. All right. If you want to share this with other friends, Jenny, feel free. I think you can share it. I'm not sure. If not, they can get on here or I can download it for you. But thanks again for joining us and showing us everything you've got.
yes, no, thank you for having me. Appreciate
You're
it.
very welcome. All right, guys. See you next Wednesday. I will see you then.
Bye.
Bye.